Hey Patriots, welcome to Patriot Life with Candace Keller. It's great to see you back today. It's been a little while since I've talked to you. I got in trouble on social media. I've been gone for a little while. I'm back. And just want to remind you of our mantra, get educated, get involved, or get out of the way. That's what we're doing at Patriot America. And so no more talk. We're going to take action. So as you know, this is an election week. And hopefully you voted this week to make change, bring about change in your local community. Patriot America is still here to help you bring about change in Ohio and across the nation. And so our website is patriotamerica76.com. If you want to reach out to me by email, please email me at patriotamerica76@gmail.com, and I'm happy to respond to you or send you whatever you need from us. So as you know, Patriot started out as an educational organization to get you up to speed on what's happening in the country today. We're about the Constitution. We're about bringing back righteousness to our nation and getting educated about the many, many things that are happening here in our country, the country that we love. So that being said, I'm going to kind of review a lot of things today that I haven't talked to you about in a few weeks. And one is our Patriot Pack, which we have been providing to people when you ask for them. Our Patriot Pack is $35, and it includes the book that we have based our entire movement on, Doctrine of the Lesser Magistrates. This is a 69-page book that I read in about an hour on an airplane, and it teaches you the power that you have as a regular citizen, which is what we're seeing. You've seen it happen all across the nation. People are rising up and taking control at their school boards, at their township trustee meetings, at their city council meetings, before their commissioners, realizing that our legislators and the people that we've elected have not been listening to us. So Doctrine is a great book that we're making available to you. We also send along The Art of War, which is a classic book everybody should read by Sun Tzu about confrontation and about the way that the enemy thinks. This has to do with literal war and all different kinds of warfare that go on in our lives as Americans and as Christians. Part of the Patriot Pack that we're going to send along comes in this nifty little cellophane package. We assemble it for you. Is our red card, which is the law regarding mandatory vaccinations, and this applies in all 50 states, the same law where we all live under FDA regulation in this country, and the law is listed on here for you to review so that you can be well equipped with the code in your state regarding health care. The blue card that we provide is the Ohio law regarding mandatory face mask wearing and how it is listed in the law specifically what is permitted and not permitted under the law. If you contact me from a state other than Ohio, we have an out-of-state card very similar to this one because, as I said, FDA law applies in all 50 states. So what is happening is applies to all 50 states, but the punishment charges can be different. In Ohio, practicing medicine without a license is a 5th-degree felony. In your state, it may be a 4th degree or something different, but it's still illegal in all 50 states. We don't practice the law unless we're licensed to practice in this country. We also send you a Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. There's also a law enforcement card included in here that lets your law enforcement officers know what they can do under the law regarding being called out to various locations when there's perceived violations or trespassing or disorderly conduct or whatever. These are great informational cards just to give to your law enforcement as a courtesy. We also have a script here for you to read in case you want to go before your city council or your township trustees or your commissioners and ask them why they're not obeying the law and opening up your county. They have the power to do that, or your city or your township. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a minute, the smallness that we really operate under in this country. And lastly, very important, is the school board script that you need to speak in front of your school boards. It has everything on here. You just read directly from this. You'll probably be given 2 to 3 minutes from your school board. Many of you have been doing this. and speaking up and telling school boards that they must listen to you because you did elect them and you're paying for the school. You own the school. So all of these things we will send to you. It's called the Patriot Pack. $35, all you need to do. Our online store is down right now because we're retooling. But you can email me at patriotamerica76@gmail.com, and I will send you a Patriot Pack in the mail right away for $35. So it's a great deal. It's a good bargain for what we're giving you. So, well, what is there to talk about besides everything? I actually don't have my contact lenses in tonight. May have to put my glasses on here in a second. I want to remind you that in many, many states, and of course I live and reside in Ohio and am a former legislator from the state of Ohio, and the Ohio law in Ohio is actually already written regarding vaccinations for children. You may not know this. I did not know it, but I came upon it while looking at the Ohio Constitution. By the way, if you're from Ohio and, where did it go? And you want me to send you an Ohio Constitution, we'll stick that in your package for you if you want to get that. It's very handy to refer to. This is, of course, free of charge because it's provided by the state. But, you know, they're a little bit hard to come by, but you need to look at the Constitution periodically, have it. So Ohio Law Section 3313.671 4B4 is called, this is the law regarding proof of required immunizations, exceptions. So the ORC, the Ohio Revised Code, Title 33, this is under education, states this: a child who presents a written statement of the pupil's parent or guardian in which the parent or guardian declines to have the pupil immunized for reasons of conscience, including religious convictions, is not required to be immunized. Now, this law was put in place a long time ago when we in Ohio went after something called rights of conscience. And there are people in the state of Ohio, we have the largest Amish community in the nation here, who don't want to get vaccinated, or even people who are into holistic or natural medicine prefer not to be vaccinated, and they don't want their children vaccinated. So we have a law in place already for you to take care of that. So I just wanted to let you know about that. People are relieved to hear that. And so a minute ago, I just mentioned the smallness of government, which is the focus of this book. And just to explain that to you just briefly, in our country, as you all know, we were founded as 13 colonies in the beginning. We were 13 colonies that became a nation. And our founders were so concerned of what it was like to live under tyranny that they came up with a plan for us to be separate but equal. And not in the terms that we knew it in recent years, but we are still 50 states, but we are one nation. And the world looks on to this with wonder and confusion, because I don't know of any other nation that's done what we've done. In other words, we're kind of like 50 little tiny countries that have come together under one umbrella of one nation. And that has been the single thing that has made us so powerful, is that we have 50 states with 50 different sets of laws, and yet we live under the federal government. So the question is, who has the most power, the state or the federal government? Well, the answer to that question is the states are sovereign. States are set forth by God to exist in a small universe ruled by the people. That's the way the founders set it up. So, we have a long and fabulous history, a checkered history of many different shifts that took place. But in the end, what it comes down to is all politics is local. So when we see an executive order that comes out of the president, first of all, executive order must be based on existing law. So, for instance, if the president said tomorrow all guns must be confiscated out of the state of Ohio, he could make an executive order if he chose to do that. However, there's no existing law for that. And so the state of Ohio legislature, there are 99 members in the legislature, would simply gather together and do something called nullification by resolution. And they would simply nullify what the president just said because it's illegal. This is the way government works. Now, this is not widely taught in public education, the power that we have at the local level. That's why our legislature is so powerful. They have the power to really sort of do away with just about anything coming out of D.C. that is improper or illegal. And this struggle that has gone back and forth over the years, it is a perfecting of the law. So there's no need to fret over it or to be worried or concerned about it, because our law stands on this little tiny book right here, the Constitution. And your Constitution is a document that is not written to give you your rights. You're born with the rights that you have. Your rights come from God. Your right to breathe, your right to protect yourself, your right to gather. All of those things are rights you're born with. We have hundreds of rights, thousands of rights we were born with. The right to go where you want, do what you want, say what you want, think what you want, but it all must be lawful. So your rights are given to you. This document was written to protect your rights, So your rights come from God, not from the government. When you realize that, it takes a while for Americans to kind of absorb this, because it's such an incredible founding that we stand on. The state takes precedence over the federal government. By the same token, because in a state like Ohio, we have 88 counties, and so that's 88 little entities that make up a state with 12 million people in it. The county, most of the time, takes precedence over the state. And townships, there are 1,500 townships in Ohio and hundreds of cities. Those are even smaller than a county, and they can also make their own ordinances. So this is an example of that is some townships allow you to keep chickens at your house. Some townships don't allow you to keep chickens at your house. So, or cities, and that's the way it works. Everything is local. So our founders put that in place for you so that you could live in the kind of place you wanted to live in. I remember when I was at the State House, we had a bill one time on one of the townships was challenging that very thing. They wanted to keep chickens. And we learned that the state really had no jurisdiction, that the townships could determine what they wanted. And so we had to go back to those who approached us and say, you either need to run for trustee and change the law in your township, or you need to move somewhere where they're going to let you have chickens, because the state really had no power to change that. When you realize how we're set up, it's kind of a relief to know that everything really is local, and you literally can approach your school board meetings, question your school board members, why they're doing things the way they're doing. They're working for you. Same thing goes with your township trustees. If you live in a township or a city, go to those meetings, show up. And the other day I found out that they're not allowing a certain type of sign to be put in front of businesses in my city where I live. These tall flag type advertising signs. Someone has approached the city. Well, I run an organization that uses those kinds of signs out front to advertise that we're open and that we do free pregnancy tests, and we are there to be of assistance. And so now the city is looking at changing that law. So now I have to approach them and say, I'm not in favor of this. So these kinds of things are determined by you. So fight to stay small. That was a saying my dad always had, fight to stay small, because smallness matters. And we see this right now in this nation as we're shifting and changing. Things are being reshuffled. And I want you to stay encouraged, because you have been amazing. So many of you are running for office. So many of you are showing up, speaking out. I'm loving these moms in minivans and the high heels that are showing up at the school board meetings. You are changing what can happen in your community. So fight to stay small. I've only got a couple minutes here. I want to talk just for a second about the ideological statements that you're continuing to hear out of your those that you've elected, your school board members, the incredible statements they're making about who owns the children, who's running the school, and what they're going to do. Those people need to be challenged, and many of them. And we're going to have somebody on here talking about CRT in a little bit later on. But right now, preserving the kind of school you want, preserving the kind of community you want, that's within your power to do that. So there's a statement. This is a letter written to a township by a citizen, and he says, It is very clear that during the last year and a half, the aforementioned parties only took guidance from the state health board and the federal government. So he's challenging them on local control. Now keep in mind, your city health department official is hired by most likely your city council or your city managers. If you don't like what your health department's doing right now, go to your city council and tell them you don't. If you don't like the way your county health department official is making dictates and orders that they don't have the authority to do, go to your commissioners and say, who hired this person and we want rid of her because she's not following the state constitution. And I have some paperwork on this we can give to you. If you request it, just email me and write and ask me anything. I'll dig and find out what you need to do. But on our website, patriotamerica76.com, we have a public records request form, template for you to use to approach your city officials, county officials, state officials, anybody elected by public records request. Now, once you take an oath to serve the people, everything about your life regarding politics is a wide open book, as it should be. So you have the power to make a public records request. This is a transparency issue. And say, hey, I want to see every email that's transpired between my public official and anybody in the public regarding this, or this. Or I want to see every email sent between my school board members regarding face mask or mandatory vaccinations. People are foolish and they're careless in the way they correspond right now, even public officials, because they think you're never going to ask for what they've been doing. So you need to understand the power you have to investigate. With that, I'm going to close today. I hope to see you next time on Patriot America. We've got a lot more information for you. See you next time.